Yes, it's time for the CEO blog again here at Harness Racing New South Wales, and there's only one man that could fit that bill. John Donnersney again, g'day.
How are you, Mark?
I'm very well, thank you. It's hard to believe it's been a week since we sat here, and plenty happening again in the world of harness racing.
There always is, and that's great for harness racing. There's some negatives always, but generally there's more positives. We've had some positives in this last week.
Let's get to a few of the topics this week, and we'll start with you were headed to Goulburn after the blog last week for a programming session. What came out of that? What
came out of it was a tremendous attendance. It was the most we had in our sessions, our information sessions, but we received a lot of feedback. Some of those things we'd already put in place, but we got a little bit more out of it, and already we've moved into, as from the 1st of November, we've transitioned into some of those suggestions.
Is that the biggest bugbear for people at the moment, that the programming around handicapping and things like that? It's impossible to keep everyone happy.
It is impossible. Another thing that we've got to be very conscious of is changing things. So we've made these last lot of changes, and I would well and truly suggest we won't change anything now until it runs for 3 months and we review again. So as Rod Smith said, the chairman of Harness Racing New South Wales, we will do a circuit again. Of course, for you people up there in Tamworth, we've still got to get back to you for the first part of the programming sessions, but still we'll get there.
NonTAB clubs had their AGM.
Yeah, and it was great. Dennis Conroy and all these small clubs, they're not forgotten by Harness Racing New South Wales, but they run 1 or 2 meetings a year, and they're spread right around the state. But Dennis Conroy, he introduced a new method. Technology came into it for the non-TAB clubs, and many of them joined in by telephone. So the tyranny of distance was defeated, and it was a very good roll-up.
So Dennis re-elected?
He was re-elected as the president of the Non-TAB Clubs Association. Wendy Dennis is the secretary, and we see a lot of proactivity coming out of this group.
Sunday, Menangle, massive day up there, and a highlight of Danny Scanlon's career.
Yes, so he said, and I must say for Danny, he competed in every single heat that he could. He helped out where they were short of drivers. It was disappointing. Only at Parks were the races called off due to almost no rain, because they've had none. But no, every driver in the series deserved to be there, but Danny came out on top, and it was great to see.
Ziggy Rock's the horse for Gemmaroo. How long's that series been going for now?
I'm going to say 10 years, in a smaller way. Jimmy Brown was the instigator through one of his very colourful comments. He said at the podium when he won a Group 1 race out there in the Breeders' Challenge, something about giving the rest of the drivers, he described them with a special colour, a go. And from there it's grown, and to Michael Brown and Club Menangle and all those other clubs that pitch in, well done. To the owners of these horses, really well done, that you, and the trainers, that you provide them for these guys to drive, because they're talented drivers and they put on a very good exhibition.
Fisher's Ghost meeting too, always very successful for the club, and really at home on that Sunday now.
Oh, big crowd. Just after the first race, as you drove in under the viaduct, the cars were parked down that far. So it's a community effort. It took a long time for the club to be engaged with the Fisher's Ghost Festival with the Campbelltown Macarthur region, but now they're part of it. It starts a little bit early with the harness racing kicking it off, and it's a wonderful day.
We head across the Tasman, a couple of Australian horses. One's there already, one's headed there for New Zealand Cup Week. Yes,
certainly. Tough Monarch's somewhere on his way, but the horse already there is our Uncle Sam. Now, I don't really think harness racing participants in the Shaky Isles will understand what it is when Chris Frisbee gets there and shows them how to do it. He had a fair crack. It was a good run, our Uncle Sam, there on Monday in the Flying Stakes, which you will explain, being over there for a little while.
It's a 2,400 metre stand, and look, I spent 10 years in New Zealand, and when I first knew about the Flying Stakes, obviously before I got there, I thought, well, it's got to be a mile and it's got to be a mobile. It's a stand and it's 2,400. And
it's over on the 1,400 metre track at Ashburton. Yep. But it was a mighty effort by our Uncle Sam. He will improve going into that New Zealand Cup.
3,200 metres should be right up his alley too.
Absolutely. Missed away slightly, came around and parked and battled on, beaten only 9 metres by 5 Purdon horses and one other maybe, but it was a great effort.
It was, and he'll head towards, I spoke to Anthony a couple of weeks ago, not sure where they were going to go after Ashburton perhaps Kaikoura, perhaps just a cup trial. They'll work it out, and as long as they're there for the big dance, the most important thing. And Tough Monarch, the boys are headed back. Shades of smoking up in the other gates.
Yeah, certainly are. Same ownership. Ricky's got this horse going very well. He won't be without a chance, and most of Australia will certainly be supporting him.
New Zealand Free for All on the Cup Day, and then the Dominion on the Friday for him. What about the Inter-Dominion? They head to the North Island after that and reverse things around a bit.
Well, they do. Everything's backwards in some respects in the North Island of New Zealand. I only mean the track, that is. Bling It On. He must be our flag bearer. He's Australia's flag bearer, I believe, and he's certainly New South Wales flag bearer. But by golly, he's got a great support crew with all the horses from Amanda and Steve Turnbull. Conviction won last week at Menangle. Gutsy effort, great effort, sensational time at Eugowra on Canola Cup Day. So we will be well represented in that Inter-Dominion.
I think about 34 paces left currently for the nominations for the Inter-Dominion as a whole.
Yeah, they're whittling down. It's interesting that the trotters hold more nominations than the paces, and that was from the outset. But we must remember New Zealand. They love their trotters. You know that very well, Mark. And they produce some good trotters. There was a trotter won at Menangle, won the first race on Tuesday, just out from New Zealand, trained by Leon Jerd, trained by him and owned by Rex Horn. We can pick up these horses, and I encourage people to look at horses in New Zealand, especially the trotters, and certainly boost our ranks.
Absolutely. They're just so consistent. They race every week over there, and they get to a hard mark. They come over here and are beautifully placed.
Yeah, they are well placed, and we do the most of our racing at Menangle, so they're very much suited there. I note that next Monday there's 2 trotters races at Goulburn, 1,000-metre track, so that makes sure that they don't miss an opportunity, because the Tuesday isn't racing at Menangle next week, being a Melbourne Cup Day.
And if you're keen to go to the harness racing on Melbourne Cup Day, Griffith is your place to go.
Yeah, Griffith. 2-day carnival. Dennis Conroy, he'll have everything spick and span and ready to go there. So we've got Melbourne Cup Day night, and again on the Saturday night for Griffith's Carnival Cup. So if you're in that area, it's a beautiful little setting, luscious grass there. I was only there last week to have a look around and see what they've done as far as infrastructure is concerned, so that'll be a good meeting. So I encourage everybody to make their way to Griffith.
Another busy week, John. I'm sure we'll do it all again this time next week and have all the news out of your office.
Thank you, Mark.